everyone, Sabrina here from Scrappy Tales Crafts. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be creating 3 cards using this new A2 perfume pop-up die set. I'm going to combine it with the pocket die from the A7 pop-up purse die set so that I can create 2 pop-up perfume bottle cards, and then my last one is going to be a regular flat shaped bottle card. So I wanted to show you some different ways you can use it, and what's nice is it is A2. I know that we don't have a lot of A2 dies in our collection, so if you are an A2 card maker and you're getting into pop-up cards, I think this one's a great one to start with. And here I'm just showing you everything I cut for my first card. I die cut the base twice from yellow cardstock and twice from white cardstock. That's heavyweight that I can add behind the yellow for more sturdiness. I die cut the base flowers from the set from hot pink cardstock, the second layer of the flower from pink glitter, and the centers of the flowers from black cardstock. So these are supposed to be poppies, and there's 3 layers to them, and they're really cute to go around the label of the bottle or at the top of the lid. I also die cut some leaves for my flower, a black bow, and I also die cut the base, just the lid part, from silver mirror so that I can have a shiny topper to my bottle. And then from the same set, there are some squares and a decorative square option. For this card, I went with the 2 squares. I cut the larger one from silver mirror cardstock and the smaller one from white, and that is where I plan on putting my sentiment. There is even a second layer to the bow, which is those black pieces I just laid on top of the flowers, and I'm pretty sure that is everything, so we can get ready to assemble. For all 3 of my cards today, I am going to be using this 3x4 Designer Friends Sentiment stamp set. These are really cute for the labels on the perfume bottles, and they also work well with our new pop-up purse. So I am going to take just the stamp. There is a coordinating die for the square, but it also matches the square that's in the perfume bottle set, so it's up to you which one you want to use. It's nice to have the coordinating dies if you just want the sentiments without the square, so that's why I do have a coordinating die. But anyway, I'm going to stamp out the decorative square border from the stamp set onto the white square that I cut from the set, and I'm going to add silver embossing powder for that decorative detail. It has little dots all around the square. I thought this little bit of silver would tie in with the lid of the perfume bottle and also the matte square that's going to go behind this one. I also cut from silver mirror. But I did want my sentiment to stand out a bit more, so I'm going to first heat set this border, and then I'm going to stamp the sentiment in the center with VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I chose number 1 Friend Paris Eau de Perfume, which is very similar to the Chanel perfume label. The entire bottle was inspired by Chanel. So that's where that sentiment comes in. I thought it'd be really cute to give on Valentine's Day. So I just stamped that with VersaFine ink, and now I'm dipping it into my clear embossing powder, and then I'll just go ahead and heat set that. So I thought that the yellow base was a little too plain, so I found an embossing folder from my stash, and I'm just going to run both base pieces through this folder just to add a little bit of texture. This has a ornate floral design that's really pretty, and it's just going to add a subtle interest to the background. So now that I have those 2 yellow pieces embossed, I'm going to go ahead and add their white coordinating pieces behind so that they're a little more sturdy. I am making this into a pop-up that's going to be handled and manipulated a lot, so I thought adding the heavyweight would be nice. But if you have heavyweight yellow cardstock, you obviously don't have to do this step. So this will be the front and back of my card, and in between those 2 bases, I'm going to add my pop-up pocket. So now I have my flowers. I am going to paper piece them And I know what the second layering pieces are based off of the petals on the second layer. They line up with the petals on the first. So you can easily add or paper piece these together. So here you can see I'm looking for the specific petal, and then I'll go ahead and glue that down. I am going to use these flowers for my second card as well. I did the same pinks, and then I also did a set of orange flowers. And now I'm going to add the black centers to these. There are 2 flowers included in the set, and I just die cut the larger flower twice to have 3. All right, so now we can assemble. So I'm going to go ahead and add my stamped sentiment onto the silver mat. And then I'll also paper piece the top of the perfume bottle. I also die cut the area between the base and the lid from a lighter yellow. So I will paper piece that as well. And then included in the set, there is a white strip and a tiny circle for this connection piece in between the lid and the base. And I thought that'd be cute just to add a small detail to, and then below that I'm going to add my bow. So my bow is a dark gray, and then there is a second layer to it that I cut from black. That just gives the bow a little more dimension. So here you can see I'm going to add the strip to the base, and then just below that I will add the bow. I did add a second, or I guess 2 black layers behind the bow to pop it up a bit. And I'm going to do the same with this label. I think I'll add 2 heavyweight square die cuts behind, and that's going to raise it up quite a bit and add some nice interest. All right, so everything is paper pieced and ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my topper and the little decorative piece below it. Then the bow. I thought about putting the bow under the label, which is also really cute. I often, whenever I'm building cards, I will fuss around with the pieces before I commit to gluing, but I do end up adding that bow to the base of the lid. So like I said, you can make this into a pop-up with the pocket die included in the pop-up purse die set that we brought out in our latest release. And what's cool about that pocket is you can use it on a lot of different dies you might already have. If you have any large dies, maybe a heart or a circle, it might be able to work to turn those shapes into either a pop-up card or even a little gift bag. I do think that this perfume bottle would be adorable just as a gift to a friend. I have a few of those roller perfume samples that I get. When you buy a full-size perfume bottle, oftentimes they come with the rollers, and I thought that those would be cute to put inside the pocket. And then you can also add makeup or a gift card and even some chocolates. It's a pretty large opening, so you can fit quite a bit in there. All right, so now we're going to work on the pocket. I'm just gonna go ahead and reinforce the score lines. I die cut 2 of the pockets from the purse die set. And these are just going to be glued back to back. So here you can see the sides attached together. I'm gonna go ahead and add my glue. There are 2 1/2-inch tabs on the sides. I'm gonna add glue to both of those tabs. And then I will just attach the 2 pockets together to create one long one. And then on the bottom tab, there are again 2 1/2-inch tabs, but this time I'm only adding glue to the very bottom tab. And I'm going to fold in those 2 bottom tabs inwards, facing up towards the inside of the pocket, and attach them together. You can definitely use double-sided tape here, but because this is lighter weight cardstock, I figured the glue would be fine if I just gave it some time to dry. And the thickness of this pocket is determined by you. So I'm using lighter weight cardstock because I do want this to fold flat for mailing, and my base pieces are already quite thick. But if you want to use this more as a gift bag, I do suggest using heavier weight cardstock so that nothing too heavy rips through the card. All right, and then I'm just going to seal the sides. Again, adding glue to both of the 1/2-inch tabs and completely covering it with the other pocket, lining up all the score lines, and then there you go. You have your pocket that stands upright and can be added pretty much to any die you have that is slightly larger than this pocket. So I am going to manipulate those center folds so that the sides are poking inwards instead of outwards. And then that bottom tab is going to poke outwards towards you, not inwards. All right, and that's how you create the pocket. And I do have another tutorial where I use this on the purse. So if you'd like to see that, I will have it linked down below. So now we can glue the front and back of the perfume bottle to this base. I folded the pocket down and just added glue to that square portion above the bottom tab. So I'll glue both pieces to the front and back. I will decorate the back of the card slightly, just so that it matches the front, but otherwise I left it blank. I think if I am going to mail this card, I am going to add a small white square to the back so that I can write my message. Here you can see the card, how it lays on the desk, and it's just super cute, perfect for Valentine's Day. And they're very easy to create, and that pocket die only takes about 5 minutes to assemble. It's just a nice way to transform your normal flat card designs into an easy pop-up. So here you can see I added a Starbucks gift card inside, and there's still plenty of room if you want to add some chocolates or something like that inside. Girardelli squares would also be really nice because they're thin and they're squarish, so you can fit quite a few in there. So for my second card, I am going to pull in an older die set called the Garden Flowers. I'm going to use the butterflies from the Potted Flowers and the Garden Flowers die set. Again, I'm taking that Designer Friend 3x4 stamp set. I'm going to use the decorative square this time and the Happy Galentine's sentiment. I stamped it with black ink, clear heat embossed it, and now I'm using the coordinating die to cut that out. And then from the die set, I cut the slightly larger decorative square to add a black map behind it. So now I have my poppy flowers, and I thought it would be cute to add them to the lid of the perfume bottle. I saw a lot of super cute perfume bottle illustrations with the flowers at the top. But as I was gluing everything down, I started to realize that it didn't look like a perfume bottle anymore, but I did use our glitter glue, which is pretty permanent once it is dry. So I will end up having to cut the lid completely off to at least save the flowers, and then I'll re-die cut the lid, glue it on top, and it's as good as new. But at the time I was still making this, I was like, I like it, I'm gonna leave it, but I do come back later and rearrange the flowers. So right now I'm adding some pink rhinestones. This mix comes with 2 different sizes, so I'm using both, arranging them in a diagonal. You can see I also added the butterflies, and then this is where I realized, okay, I want to rearrange the flowers. So I just took them off Here, I guess I left them on and I first did the pocket. So this one I sped up a bit more because you saw it the first time, but I did reinforce all the score lines on both pocket pieces. This time I die cut it from black. And I did use pattern paper for the base of this perfume bottle. It's a black and white stripe. I think our new pattern paper would also be really cute. All right, so this time I am going to use strong double-sided tape because this is a heavyweight pocket that I'm using. So this one I do plan on adding chocolates and other things too. All right, so I'm gonna remove the backer tape. This is U-line and it's extremely sticky. So I think I'm just gonna do one side at a time just to avoid, oh, just kidding. I guess I do remove the backing on all the tape. I am going to be careful not to stick anything where it's not supposed to. First, I'm going to create that long pocket by aligning the sides together. Remember, the sides I have the tape on both 1/2 inch tabs. At the bottom one, I just have it on the very bottom tab. I'm going to pinch those bottom tabs upwards, facing inside the pocket, and just line them up and attaching them together. And then all you have to do is glue the sides. And those are very easy because everything lines up. And that's it, you have your pocket. Again, I'll manipulate those center fold lines so that everything folds in the direction that I want it to. And then I'm going to add ATG tape to the square part right above the bottom tab. I'll attach the front of my card, and then on the back I will add the back base piece. Again, all I did on the back there was add the silver lid. If I want to write a message, I'm going to add a white square. All right, so here I had to recut the lid because it wasn't salvageable when I cut the flowers apart. So I die cut it once from the silver mirror and once from black so that it is more sturdy. And I just glued it right to the base, in front of the base. It pretty much lines up with the one in the back. It's hardly noticeable. And I think that just looks a lot better than just having all the flowers at the top. So here I have the other two. They're still stuck together because I couldn't, if I would have torn them apart, you would have seen a rip where the glue was. So I kept them in one piece. I had luckily had some extra flowers that I was able to use. And I like that much better. And then I also added this cute little bow from the Garden Flowers die set as an extra little detail. And then here I have those roller perfume bottles that I was just talking about, a gift card, and you can still put in chocolates if you want. I think these are just adorable little Valentine gifts. I think they'd be cute for kids too, kid Valentines. For my next card, I am going to pull in an older stamp set. This one's called Rose Petals, and I'm going to create a custom background with that stamp. But first, I'm going to cut my card base using the A2 perfume bottle, the base piece, and I have a folded card here. This is just an 8.5 by 11 sheet that I folded in half. I'm going to line up the top of the bottle with the score line, and I'm going to let it overhang slightly, and that is how you can create a shaped flat card. You will have to run this through your die cut machine a few times if you're using heavyweight cardstock, but this is such a basic shape that it will die cut beautifully. And I should have first die cut a base piece separate, because now that it's a card and I'm going to use Copic markers, it is going to bleed through. So I end up having to cut this one in half and then cut another base to glue it on top of. But I figured I would let you guys know that if you do plan on using Copics here. So I am stamping out the large rose petals image onto the perfume bottle using VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I should be wiping my stamp in between each impression because there could be leftover ink from a previous section that can get on a part of the bottle that I don't want. So I am going to try to use some scrap paper to avoid that, but I still have a couple mistakes. You can see that rose didn't stamp completely. I do manage to fix it, but I think if you just wipe your stamp in between, you're going to get a better result. I am also going to pull in the stemmed rose from that stamp set for the top of the bottle. I didn't want this one to be quite as busy, but I still wanted a pattern at the top. And then I just have a really tiny corner over to the top left. Again, this one didn't stamp completely. It didn't stamp that well. Luckily, I was able to line it up, which that normally never happens. And I'm going to try to do it again with this last stamp here, and this one does not line up. But again, it's hardly noticeable, and the markers end up covering it. You can see there's also some blank space between the lid and the base, but I knew I was going to put a bow there, so it didn't matter. But this definitely could have been cleaner if I maybe used a Misty and if I wiped my stamp in between each impression. So I went ahead, clear heat embossed this. Versafine is a very wet ink, and it actually does not normally work with Copic markers, but if you heat set it with clear embossing powder, you can use it with Copics, and it adds a nice shiny look to the stamping. So I chose some coordinating colors with my last two cards, so pink, orange, and yellow for my roses, and I am using 3 of each marker. I do have my caps on screen, and I'm just going to show you 1 of each flower just because I have loads of Copic tutorials on my channel, and I'm sure you guys also follow a lot of Copic colorists, so this is nothing new, but I do like to color from darkest to lightest, and I typically just use 3 markers. I am focusing the majority of my darker color towards the center of the rose and towards the base of each petal. And this did not take long at all because it is an A2 card. I think in total it took about 20 minutes to color this whole thing. So as I color, I do want to talk about some upcoming things. We do have a J'adore inspiration hop on January 20th, and that's going to feature the Scrappy Tales design team. So there's going to be lots of flat card inspiration. I know that my channel focuses a lot more on pop-ups, but I have an incredibly talented team of wonderful ladies and one guy, Brian, who design using my products. So if you want to see some more inspiration from different styled designers, definitely check out that Instagram hop. I am going to be giving away 2 $25 gift cards. I also posted my product showcase video where I share the entire new J'adore release and more perfume bottle inspiration, more purse inspiration. So if you want to check that out, I will have it linked below. I am also giving away 2 $50 gift cards in that video if you want to leave a comment to enter yourself for that. Lastly, I decided to extend my 10% off bundle discount for today and tomorrow because I knew this video is posting on a Monday. The sale should have technically ended Sunday night, but I figured some people might be waiting for these tutorials, so I did extend that until Tuesday night. And then I think that is it. I am really excited about the new year, and I have some big plans for Scrappy Tales this year, including going to trade shows. So I'm hoping I can meet some of you this year. And I'd also like to start a Scrappy Tales Facebook group. I think I'll name it the Scrappy Tales Crafters. And in that group, I think it'd be fun to share inspiration, but also do some giveaways that are exclusive to the group. So once I have that up and running, I will let you guys know and you can join. I think it'll be a great place to meet other Scrappy Tales crafters and we can chat and have contests. I think it'll be really fun. All right, so I have my label. This one says, I love you more than Gucci, Chanel, and Versace. I love the girliness of this collection. I love the designer part of it, the fashion. the overall Valentine theme. This is totally up my alley because I am, like I said, such a girly girl. So designing this release was one of my favorites for that reason. Again, I'm going to add 2 white bow die cuts behind my pink one to raise it up. I did add some more black squares behind the sentiment, again, to raise that up. And that pretty much finishes my last card. I am going to embellish with those same pink rhinestones. And I love how the Copic coloring turned out. It looks like a pattern paper. When I showed my family, they thought I used a paper, but I did color it. So I think all 3 turned out very cute. Let me know which one is your favorite. And if you'd like to see some more inspiration with these bottles, definitely check out that showcase video and the Scrappy Tales Instagram page. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye!